happening, fight fans? It's an all-new year, which means all new matchups to get you hyped up for the UFC. Tune into the fights this weekend, and don't forget, get in on all the action with my partners at DraftKings Sportsbook. They're offering all new customers $200 in bonus bets instantly after betting just $5. So don't wait. Download the DraftKings app right now. Sign up using the code SONNEN. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Stay in on the action and use your $200 in bonus bets for DraftKings same-game parlays for a shot at an even bigger payout. Combine multiple bets together from the same game. Love the thrill of live betting? DraftKings has got you covered with live markets, like Fight to Go the Distance, which makes watching the action that much more exciting. If sports betting is not yet available in your state, don't worry. You can still join in on all the fun with DraftKings Daily Fantasy with a shot at even bigger prizes. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use my promo code SONNEN. Get $200 in bonus bets for any $5 wager. That's promo code SONNEN, only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Volkanovski's come out, and if anybody's opinion matters, it's a world champions. If anybody's opinion matters as to what it takes to be, what they call it GOAT, and GOAT stands for greatest of all time, but a lot of times you'll hear people use it, and they just mean for today's. Now, today's current greatest is supposed to be called pound for pound. But if anyone's to weigh in on the pound for pound or the modern day GOAT, a championship fight, it's a former champion who was pound for pound number one and looked at by his peers for a period of time as the current GOAT, and that's Volkanovski. Volkanovski can go one step further, which is he's fighting at the same time in the same era. Oh, by the way, he fought one half of the main event, Islam Makhachev, and he fought him twice. And Volk won rounds. In the very first fight, Volk officially won 2 rounds. But one judge in the first fight said that he won 3 rounds, thought he won the entire contest. Now, it's very hard between Volk and Arman. I don't think you can find another person that's won a round against Islam. And I haven't looked that up, guys. I haven't looked that up. But I don't think that Poirier won a round. As much as we love that contest, I don't know that he was stealing rounds. And I really can't think of anybody else. Gamrot, I really can't think of anybody else. And it could be wrong. Please don't come to correct me. It is not my point. My point is, unless you side with Volkanovski, of yes, Islam's going to win. If you go with Artem, you're going to be forced to answer how. And that's the one I'm most curious in. Because I know Tsarukyan can beat him. You guys know Tsarukyan can beat him. Collective, we know the hardest fighter, the guy active right now, most likely to take that belt away, is Tsarukyan. But the odds at DraftKings keep getting wider for Islam. I think the reason for that is even the people that back Tsarukyan, they're having a hard time figuring out why. Do we believe that he can get top control? Should we go to a decision, which we are most likely to get to? If we look at the history of 155 pounds in championship matches, we get to a decision more often than not. If we get there, 90+% of the time, the guy who had more time in the top position is who wins the decision. And when we talk about how great the wrestling is of Tsarukyan, are we thinking from a defensive standpoint so he can scramble and he can spend less time on bottom himself? Or are we going to the point that his wrestling is so good, he's actually going to get that top position and he's going to maintain that top position longer than his opponent? And that is a very interesting concept. If I have to base on what I've seen in these guys' career, I'm going to give Islam the slight advantage in grappling. I mean, wrestling specifically. Just who can get on top. Who can change the position from being on your feet to being on the mat. That's the wrestling. If I was to base these two on what I've seen, purely grappling. So once you get to the mat, what happens in terms of advancements? to either pound and do damage or potentially to pin down and hold. Be able to stretch out and submit. I'm going to give an advantage, ever so slight, to Islam. Now, it's when they're on their feet. When they're on their feet, everything appears to be missed that Islam does. I mean, Islam was fighting Dustin Poirier so well on his feet. He was slipping punches. He was coming to the body. He was coming upstairs. He was blocking, rolling, firing back. He offensively and counterattacks. In fact, when Islam beat Volkanovski the second time, that was also on the feet. And it was also by finish. With a technique that was not wild. It was not a lucky punch. It was very calculated. But for some reason, we didn't give Islam credit for it. We still put Islam in the category of all he can do is grapple. Now, if you go watch Arman Tsarukyan's matches, he too prefers to grapple over stand up, but you're going to have a very hard time where he didn't win the part of the battle that was standing up. I'm going to have to make a final prediction on this, and I'm not ready. I'm not ready to do it. There's something to be said for momentum. There's something to be said for willingness. I believe momentum to be on Islam's side. And on willingness, I was there. I was there when Dana White sent Hunter Campbell to the steps to greet Tsarukyan as he was coming out of the octagon after the fight with Charles Oliveira. And he turned the fight with Islam down. Now, in hindsight, we couldn't have done it anyway because he ended up having the suspension by Nevada. But he turned him down. The Charles fight was a little too hard. The time was a little bit too short. He'd already made that mistake once. He wanted to laser focus on Islam. None of those things are bad. None of those things are even unadvisable. But it is something that I do have to look at. I'm going to get my thoughts together. And I am going to bring you a final prediction. Some call the curse. Between Islam and Tsarukyan. But in the meantime and in between time, go down to the comment section and give me your prediction right now.